Business.
6 o'clock. Call the meeting in order. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Rob Fouraker.
Present.
Jill Edler.
Present.
Angie Schaffer. Present. Brad Fordyce.
Present.
Brad Campbell and Mayor Johnny are both absent. But we knew they were going to be absent, so doing work and important things. Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce. Agenda's approved. Okay, citizens hearing and other communications. Hello, sir.
Hello. So this is for the month of September numbers. We had 40 calls per service in September. Nothing really wiring or anything with that for September. So just a quiet month, really, numbers wise. One call that won't be on here, it just happened, about a week and a half ago, is our missing individual up there on Bridge Street. So if you didn't hear about it or whatever, it's a huge thank you to the great communication and teamwork and everything between the sheriff's office, the fire department up here, and then just the citizens of Elkhart themselves. So if you weren't there, if you didn't drive by and see just UTVs and side by sides, as far as the eye could see, and everybody out in the fields looking and basically just going everywhere and checking in with us so that we could get more of a systematic search done. And then with the FD also for a positive outcome, that was just great between, like I said, all the services up here and then citizens of Elkhart too.
That's great.
Awesome.
You have the speed trailers set up, I know, throughout town.
Then yeah.
Yeah, it has been set up. That'll get taken back and then you pull the data from it, correct? And then we'll get some updates on that probably next month.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I get them, I can send them up. Okay.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Okay, Mr. Drey.
All right. We're always the underachievers from the sheriff's office. We only had 18 calls to service this month. 6 rescues, 1 alarm at a residence, 6 fires, 4 medical calls, and then, like he said, the 1 search for the elderly gentleman. So for a total of 18. Our fire numbers did go up. We're just in this fall season where we got brush, grass fires. We mutual aided with Ankeny on a couple. We've had a couple of our own that had the potential to get big, but since I'm scared to death in my shadow when it comes to dry weather, we had other people coming right away and we attacked them pretty aggressively. So, and then we hosted a pancake breakfast 2 weekends ago on a Saturday morning to help out the family of the young man who, the high school student that was killed in the car accident. One of our members worked with another entity. We got all the ingredients donated. So all we really did was work. We cooked the pancakes, eggs, meat, served a few hundred people. I don't know for sure how many it was, but we wound up raising a little over close to $1,100, I think, for the family. So it was worthwhile. We felt like it was still the right thing to do to help member of the community.
Yeah.
I got 2 other things. One, I had mentioned, I think in my typed up report last month, that I want to use, I guess you could say, part of the money that I have in the budget, in the fire budget already for equipment, for ice and water rescue equipment. So I don't know for sure how I go about doing that. If I need to ask the council for it. The only thing I'm a little hesitant, I might have missed the boat if that's what I have to do, because then you won't approve it until November. And by the time we get this done, we're going to be through the winter time. So if I missed the boat, I missed the boat. But I'd like to ask for no more than $3,500 for a couple ice rescue suits and some tethers. I'm not really 100% sure. I'm working with some of the neighboring communities to see what assets they have and what they recommend for us to get started, because ice and rescue equipment is not something that we talked about. We dabbled in it a little bit about 20 years ago, and it never really caught on. But I think we have 4 ponds out here in the industrial park, the retention ponds that are all stocked. People ice fish on them. We have the Skunk River running through our area. Of course, now we have the ponds out here. We have some other scattered farm ponds. I just feel like it's something that I would rather be prepared and never use the equipment rather than find ourselves in need of it and not have it. So again, I don't know the right way to proceed, how to do the money. So I'm looking for some guidance. Hopefully I didn't miss the boat and drag this out, but.
We meet on November 2nd.
Oh,
So
okay.
if that works, I can set it up for approval on that Saturday.
That's
Whatever
enough.
quote or information you can put together before that would
Yeah.
be good. And then we can look at it on the 2nd.
Okay. I don't have specifics just yet. We found some, it's all where we can find deals too. We found a couple ice suits at around $900 a piece.
Okay.
Only going to get 2 of them. Requirement would be to have 4, because you need 2 to go in and 2 to be ready. But my intent is to only have 2 for our people, and then have Bondurant, Polk City, or Ankeny that all have rescue as well coming, and that would be our backup. And no bigger than any of our water bodies are. I'm hoping that our people entering the water would be a last resort. It's not like we're going out on Sailorville, a big creek, like what some of them do. That what we could do is we could gear up, but yet still stand on the bank and throw things, hopefully, to somebody, so that the PPE that we're wearing is only to protect us just in case we were to fall in, is my original intent. But still, I can't take the chance of somebody dressed in their fire gear standing on the bank
Yeah.
and falling in. And we've already had a couple issues over the summer with people. You can put all the signage up in the world. Signage is, I'm a safety guy, so I can tell you signage does 0 other than cover your rear end if you're the entity that owns it. It's not going to deter anybody.
Yeah.
So instead, I just feel like I want to be prepared and ready.
Do you have in this kind of worked out, like the sleds that you see sometimes you can slide out, or like blankets once they're out to.
I'm working with Bondurant. They've been a good resource to guide me in the right direction of where to start.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not looking for boats and anything high dollar. I just want some of the cursory, just get us started. If somebody were to go in the water, of course, in the winter time is more of an essence. We can call Ankeny, we can call any of these mutual aid partners. However, you have to wait for Ankeny to gear up from Station 1 clear down on First Street. You have to wait for Polk City, and that's a long time that somebody's then going to be in the water. And I don't feel like when we're a rescue service that we should be geared up and ready to provide those services. What I'd like to do, though, is try to make it so that it works on not only ice, but just like you said, it will also work in the summertime for water rescue. We obviously won't need the ice suits, but some of the throwables, lanyards, stuff like that we can also use then in summertime.
So what do you need by the 2nd then, do you think?
Quote or a bid on how much all the equipment would cost.
I'll do my best.
Could we do it not to exceed if he
We
doesn't
can
have
do it not to exceed 3,500.
I think that's really fair. That's of the folks I've talked to, and I even inflated that just a little bit to make sure I didn't have to come back and go, I'm sorry, I messed up.
Yeah, just throw a list together with everything that you're thinking.
We're working on it. It's just been one of those things that's been in discussion, and when you take into account the river, you got ponds out here, you got ponds over here, farm ponds, even accessibility has been something we've discussed, because even boats and things like that. If the bank is lined with trees, then that changes your approach. So
Yeah. It's something we talked about when the ponds were designed as a potential need. So yeah, no problem.
Okay.
We can look at it.
And then last, I hope I'm not out of order, but I am going to have to go. There was a discussion or something on there about somebody living in a garage. And I had some opinions on it. So can I voice them now before I go? So we had this a few years ago. A house in town was renting out their garage for people to live in, unbeknownst to virtually everybody. And what ultimately happened is we had to go rescue somebody out of the garage. But to make matters worse, they had one person living in the main floor of the garage and somebody else in the attic of the garage. So, of course, the sick person was in the attic of the garage. And we had to go up a ladder that was an attic ladder, just like the one that hit Clark Griswold in the head on the movie. Just one of those cheap, chintzy ladders to rescue somebody. The issue to me is in the fire code and in the building code, there are rules and regulations and policies for how buildings are designed and even how they're constructed, what materials you can use on interior walls, means of egress. You get into things like smoke detectors and occupancy that we don't have when it comes to a garage. And it can't be a garage and a dwelling all at the same time. And I would hope this young man right here would correct me if I say something. Yes. Would correct me if I'm wrong, but it can't be a garage and a residence all at the same time. To where if you're parking your car in there, you got gas cans, things of that nature, you can't be living with those things.
Yeah. Is it as simple as a COE needs to be established or you can't live there? Is it that simple? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the boiled down. I looked into it as well when I saw it. If it doesn't have a COE, it's pretty cut and dry.
That's right. But I think where I voiced my opinion was they talked about maybe changing some rules, and I don't want us to go down that road because I think it sets a precedent. Somebody could go buy one of these yard barns down in Ankeny, a 10 by 12 yard barn, put it in the back, and then all of a sudden you have a mini house that you can rent out for $600 a month. I just think it would start a very negative precedent if we allowed that to happen, because the code is one thing, but you've got occupancy rules. That's all built into the fire code. Guys like myself, not only do I look out for life safety of our residents, but also for our responders or any other responders that come. Mm-hmm. The one I'm referencing where they were living in the attic, I would have never, if that were to start on fire, have sent somebody into an attic looking for people. It just would not have been something we would have done. We would have stumbled upon them trying to ventilate or put out hot spots, but certainly that's not some place you would have ever looked for somebody living, and they were genuinely living there. They had a bed, they had everything up there. So that's my 2 cents worth on that issue.
Wouldn't it also be hazardous, however, they're heating the garage, whether it's a space heater or something else?
It could be, but that also could be the case in your normal residence. So I don't know after the building is built and you get your certificate of occupancy, how you heat it really comes down on good faith. I've been in houses, expensive houses out here that are heated with kerosene heaters in the wintertime. There's nothing to preclude that, if you will. So as far as us regulating that would be really hard to do, short of doing regular home inspections. And how many of you want me to come into your home every year and do a home inspection? But I think the rules that we have in place with single family dwellings, in the fire code, the National Building Code, you have occupancy ratings. I think they already do a very fair job of precluding things like this and not allowing it to be done. Am I correct, sir?
You are correct.
Okay. Because if I'm not, I'm happy for him to correct me.
Nope, that all makes sense.
He's more broad. I'm just stuck in the whole fire code.
Well, that is your domain. So
Yes, it
it makes
is.
sense.
So,
Thank you for that. Anything else?
Nope. that's all I have.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Okay, public comments on items not on the agenda, limited to 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
Yay.
This summer, Ron and Rick and Tom discovered an area intake and you take kind of drew it in my handwriting there. If you go north of Elm on Shaw Extended, there is an area intake in the backyard. That's the photo of the intake. It is actually tied into the sanitary sewer system, not into the storm sewer system.
That's good.
And it drains a pretty good area. It drains everything north of Elm and basically between Lincoln and the maintenance shop. So it's a couple blocks back there that it drains. Hasn't rained, so that's been kind of handy, but this map shows your storm sewer system, and there's an intake there at Lincoln and Elm, the yellow W59. If your eyes are better than mine. We stuck that, and we could get that intake to go, or that to drain into the storm sewer system over at Lincoln, but there is a storm sewer running down the middle of Elm. That's the green line, but there's no manholes to check how deep that thing is. So ideally, we would we'd take that intake and run it straight south and tie it into that storm sewer on Elm. But we can't get into the storm sewer on Elm because it's all buried. And so Ron wants to hire Tom with a little mini excavator for $650, I think.
Sure.
I think that's what Tom had as an email to do some digging. Next time we're in the neighborhood, he'd actually stick how far it is down. Next time we're in the neighborhood, we'd shoot the pavement, know if it's feasible, and we have.
There's an intake.
There's intakes, but
There's a manhole over here.
Yeah, there is over on Lincoln, and we shot that.
No, on Elm, up there north of that, there's one they put in several years ago.
That's the one on Lincoln.
When they checked it, it's right at the end.
The
And
one
it shows how deep it is.
Yeah.
That line's about 12 feet.
Yeah, and that's at Lincoln, and that's the one they put in, and we shot that one, and we can make it work to go to Lincoln. It's very flat, but ideally, that storm sewer stays flat as it goes west on Elm, and we only have to go half a block straight south and not go half a block and then go a block down Elm to try and get rid of it. So it's just letting you aware of it. Ron's going to start wanting to spend some money to figure this out and wanted me to come in public comment period and let you know.
Yeah.
So
I talked to Ron about it last week for a little bit as well. How long has this intake been there, roughly? Would you guess? Right.
I don't know.
Years, not
Yeah,
days or
yeah,
weeks. It's
right.
not brand new. It's weathered a lot of storms. I understand that the DNR, obviously, we don't want stormwater feeding into sanitary for a million different reasons. That's why we had to upgrade lift stations and
Yep.
DNR issues. As far as diagnosing the problem, I'm in favor of diagnosing, but as far as full-fledged, just, oh my gosh, now we need to fix this thing right now, today, I would exercise some caution on that until we know what the true cost of digging all this out is, because this area in the nearish future will start to be developed, and there's going to be a street running right over top of that anyways. So I don't know. It's all going to have to be rerouted and reworked at some point. But it can't be closed either, Ron said. It's not like we could close it off and not use it at all, because it does drain a pretty large area. So lot to consider as far as diagnosing it. I'll leave that up to Ron. He's head of public works. If Ron thinks we need to diagnose it and see what it would cost to get it fixed and gather quotes, that's fine. But as far as like, if it comes back and we got to excavate this and dig this out and we're going to redo all this, and then in 4 years they pave it and rip it all back out again, you know what I mean? That's that stop playing catch up thing we've been talking about for quite a while. So see what we could do, maybe a triage plan in the short term if possible, because I also know that that's going to be where phase 3 of the stormwater plan that we're going to have, you know what I mean, that we've been talking about for years as well. So there's already a fix incoming for it. Either way, either it's going to get developed over top of, or the stage 3 is going to get to it. And it's been this way we were kind of guessing 20 to 30 years, if not longer.
I know it's PVC pipe going out of it. So,
correct.
So I don't know.
So is there a way to, maybe we add another intake? Maybe we just close this one off and add a different way to do it. Maybe that would be cheaper in the short term. Maybe we work with the developers who are going to be building north of there to find ways to get them to develop that area a little quicker, you know what I mean? Hypothesizing, but what I asked Ron to do, and I know we kind of talked about it, was gather what information he could. We're having a planning, like a strategic planning session on November 2nd. And then we can talk more about where does this fit in? How do we fund it? Because this would be a surprise expense, for lack of better words, even though it's a potentially 40-year-old, 50-year-old or more issue. So
yeah.
Does that all make sense?
Hopefully it's no, I mean, it's grass back there. Hopefully it's no more than taking that 6-inch PVC pipe and digging it in for half block, and
that'd be great.
And we're done. So if it's more than that, and this triage or investigation that Ron's looking to do will give us that answer, and then we'll know better what we're looking at for dollars.
Yep. It's definitely something that needs to be looked at, but it's not a hot stove issue. It hasn't rained for 2 months. It's probably never going to rain again the way it's going. It's knocking on wood. It's supposed to rain tonight. No, I'm hoping it rains tonight. That's why I said that. So, but no, I appreciate it.
So
he did a good job bringing that up as well. So.
Okay.
Did you want to add anything to that? You were on that.
I was just going to verify. So, like, do you think we need to get it done by spring?
It's quite a bit of water that's coming into the sanitary sewer system. Let's see how easy a fix it is.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to Ron and see if we can get some quotes.
Well, it's been a long time with how we were having filtration into the system anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first step is, get Tom out there to dig down, and we'll take some survey shots, and we'll see if it's even feasible to go straight south.
Okay.
And then if we know that will work, then Ron can go out and get some quotes.
Okay. Thank you.
Sounds good.
So that's kind of a 2-step process there.
Okay, additional public comments.
That was put in, that pipe he's talking about was put in when they put the water line in, the extra water line in to feed that part. PD side of Elkhart. That's when that was put in there to help drain that. So you gotta thank your old council members for that.
What year was that?
Around 2020, no, 2000, and when they put that water line in, had to be around 2004, 5, 6 in there. So when they started building houses out there, they didn't have enough water line to it into there. So instead of going on the right of way where it's supposed to go, down the sewer line, the alley's behind. Oh no, you can't mess up my grass. Oh, my grass, all them people, bitch. So they bought an easement off of Campbell at the time to go out into his field and put it in. And at the same time, they put it in because anything else would have been put in with clay tile in there. So that's when that was put in to drain. And that house on the corner to the south of where this intake is, there is a drain there in the ditch that you probably can't find because it's plugged up, and it goes in that big 12-inch too. So they might only have to go 150 feet to hook up to it, or 100.
Yeah, that's fair. Good information. Okay. So 20 years. It's been 20 years since. And I know Des Moines, the city of Des Moines just fixed one of their last ones from talking to a few people as well pretty recently. They used to have a ton of these all over the city that were feeding into their sanitary system, and the DNR encourage them to get those fixed pretty quickly. So thank you.
Yes. Any other public comments? Okay. Reports of elected officials, city staff, and standing committees. We'll just start with the table.
Well, I know that Polk County Emergency Management is going to be doing a large-scale training. I think that's coming up this coming weekend out at Adventureland, but it is going to be cordoned off and kind of not wanting public out there, but just if anyone sees anything going on. So
Sounded like it was a pretty big thing, but
yeah, the multi-agency training, mass casualty event type thing.
Parks and Recs did not meet this month. They did, however, they were out planting trees with several volunteers on Sunday. I think we planted 20 trees, and it was really nice day for that. They did not get the stencil for the pickleball down. It was a little too windy for that. So they're gonna reschedule that or have Ron and Rick maybe go out and do that. I did see that you're pursuing a grant maybe for the story walk.
Yeah, it's like $1,000 mini grant, but we're gonna try for it to put it towards the story walk.
And that totals like $6,000.
Yeah, around 6,000.
Story walk. Yep. So I think that'll be a nice addition if and when they can get that done. And then the Teal Pumpkin is this month for trick or treating on Saturday, and they are working on gathering addresses to share with everybody for those non-food addresses. So that's all I got.
Cemetery committee has not met. No new updates from them. We will be meeting next month. Should be the regular meeting, so I'll have some updates then. Last I knew, we were just working with them on smoothing out the process for how they get the locate forms and some of those things. So getting the ducks in a row, but nothing else to report from them.
So Jenna, Kimberly, myself, Ron Cornwell, and Katie we all met to discuss where Kimberly's at in each of the stages of their development for what they've already got platted and figured out. And then I'll call it some hypothesizing on what might be next, depending on what the city wants, what the council's looking for. We'll talk about more of it at the November 2nd, because there's ramifications, right? There's different questions that need to be asked about capacities and things like that as far as what type of growth we're looking for. But it was a good overall conversation to get an idea of when they think the houses will be built out, and kind of what those timeframes look like. We also discussed potential school, different land they own, different location possibilities, things of that nature. And what I took away from that conversation was, if Elkhart's obviously growing, right? And if Elkhart wants to have a school at some point, if the city wants to have an elementary school, it's going to be incumbent on the people that live here to show why, show how, show where, right? And put a plan together to seek a school, not just hope that the school board goes, you know what, let's put that in Elkhart and call it 3 years, call it 7 years. There's a lot of hypotheticals out there. None of them are worth covering right now. So Jenna's going to work with us more closer to the spring a little bit on putting together, call it a proposal, but more just an outline of, here's our sewage capacities, here's what we're planning for future improvements, here's our water capacities, here's future improvements, here's upcoming infrastructure projects, here are all of the reasons why the school in Elkhart makes sense, and oh yeah, here's our real population, right? Here's what we're actually putting out, here's how many rooftops are in town. I mean, the school has access to obviously how many kids are there because they're registered at the school, but marrying all that with Kimberly's future plans. And by then, if there's a new industrial park, again, hypothetical, or there's something else coming to town, new commercial development, new businesses are looking into it, putting that together and then starting to go to as many school board meetings as possible, just on a rotating basis. Some of them do overlap. They typically meet on the third Monday of every month. So there'll have to be some give and some take there. But it's come to the point that if we want the school, we're going to have to go seek the school, because as you remember from our conversation a couple months ago, it was centrality of population number one. Where are the kids? But 1A is infrastructure. And anything that's between here and Ankeny is going to be severely lacking the infrastructure part and the ease of adding that type of a project. And then a willing landowner is third, most likely. And there's not a lot that Kimberly doesn't have where they wouldn't be willing to work something out to put a school, but it's got to come down to what makes the most sense for the houses around it, the people around it, the traffic flows, all of that stuff that gets studied. So we'll talk more about it as time goes on, but just it was a pretty long form conversation on the school stuff, and then we shifted more into the future plans. Other things, you mentioned the tree planting at Memorial Field. Having conversations with AES and the different folks over the years about, who maintains the ball fields, the money side of it. I know the Elkhart Baseball and Softball Association, how the funding works, the backstory. When Kyle was still here, the checkbooks were turned over, and kind of that barrier that's been built over the years of who runs what or who does what, and trying to bring that all back together. So I had a pretty long conversation with Tom Owens the other day, probably about an hour, and he's going to join us or come to the next Parks and Rec meeting in November to discuss where they're at, what their funding looks like, what they see as future needs. I've gathered a list from the heads of AES, different coaches from the youth side, what they think the fields need. As you guys noticed in the Cruiser quote, and Tom was pretty excited to hear, Cruiser can use that federal funding to put new lights up, LED lighting at the ball fields, because Tom said those bulbs are from the 60s and they don't have anymore. So, and it's essentially free to the city to have that done through that program. So that's just one thing though, but I'm not going to just start throwing out all the lists of all the stuff that he talked about with the drainage issues and all the things going on out there, but preserve the past, but look towards the future, and potentially talk to him about having somebody come in, an engineering firm or someone, and here's the land you have, here's what you have currently, what could it look like, what should it look like, do we need more fencing, do we need netting for the vehicles, do we need more parking, you get the point. Bathroom facilities, bigger concession stands, things of that nature. So part of our November 2nd conversation will take place, obviously the parks meeting is until after that, but part of the conversation we need to have on the 2nd is, what do we want those ballparks to look like in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Because again, school's coming to town, right? Hopefully, things of that nature. How many more kids are we going to have? How many kids are going to be running through the AES? And then I guess the subsection of that conversation was around obviously working with youth football at North Polk for the last all the years. Having different youth leagues within the same school district is something that never has really made a lot of sense to me. Obviously, Polk City Little League wouldn't be the name of a Elkhart Little League, but having conversations with Polk City around, could we handle the AES registration at the city level? Could we help with the uniforms and the jersey ordering and all the things that we're tasking volunteers to do? They are city parks at the end of the day. Do we have the capacity to do that? And does North Polk want to do some type of a sharing program where Elkhart AES kids still AES, right? We still have our teams centraled in those locations, but we join with them and we play against each other, and a little bit more formality than is around it right now versus the coaches calling around and trying to schedule games just to schedule games. So long form stuff, I don't anticipate any immediate changes, but feel free to come to the parks meeting in November and hear more about it, I guess. Let's see, gas station. There's stuff on the agenda. We'll talk about that specifically, but the groundbreaking got moved back. In short, with the funding issue that the parent company of the parent company had that funds these things across the United States, they had a funding freeze back in the spring because of some bad investments, it sounds like. Don't know all the details. Our Elkhart's gas station project was one of the projects that was put, not on hold, but was delayed because of these funding issues. The funding issues have been sorted out. Everything's ready to go. But then all the pre-approval stuff was dated because it had been 60 days, 90 days, whatever. So they're redoing, I think they're on bank appraisals right now. All that should be ready by next week or so. And then the groundbreaking was moved back to November 4th just to be safe. And with construction starting somewhere in a 2-week window after that, it's feasible that it could get moved back again. They're banks, they move at their pace. And this is one of, I think, 7 projects going through this final phase at the same time. And they've grouped them all together. So it could take longer. Again, not a city project. We have no sway over it. We have no say over it. It's taking how long it's taking, but that is why the extension resolution is on the agenda for tonight, because obviously they're not going to be able to build a gas station in 6 weeks. That would be a tall task. I mentioned the strategic planning session on November 2nd. The time, thank you for putting that there, 8:30 to 3:30. We'll figure it out as we get there, but yeah, it should be a good session. Talk to people in the community between now and then, please. Find out what people are looking for. Find out what's important. Find out what's next for the city. Get a good pulse of where people want to see this town go. Commercial developments, industrial developments, reinvest into infrastructure. I mean, there's a million things that we could cover right now. You know, new poop pipes that run underneath the train tracks is a #1 priority, for instance, because the ones we have don't work all that well. But we can talk about that on the second. Just encouraging you guys and anybody that's listening to this or bring ideas forward. It's the time to do it, because this isn't just a 2 to 3 year plan that we're going to be talking about. So
Yep.
I think that's it.
I'll touch on a few items. Prairie Point Park, we are waiting on Mid-American to hook up power for the lights. And the inspections are passed. We're just awaiting that next step with them. The water treatment plant, we have the painters back in the building. The mechanics have finished up with the gas pumps, heaters, and vent hood. We're still on schedule to produce water before the new year. But at our meeting, they did specify softening will be done for our water. That's not in the process at all.
We did look into that. Was it 600,000 extra? It was a lot. It was a bunch. So we did look into it for people who have asked.
And then we did talk about possibly organizing a ribbon cutting or, creating pamphlets or educational material to inform what the new project is, what the new treatment is.
He might be fighting the train.
Lift station final walkthrough, that's taking place this Wednesday. The gas station groundbreaking is rescheduled. Please let me know if you plan to attend so I can get a head count for the shovels and the hard hats. The city hall sign, I don't know if you guys noticed, but that is currently at the shop. The guys are replacing the cork and the window panes. So it'll be nice to have that looking nice in front of City Hall. As far as the audit, we were talking about sending out RFPs. So I did send out RFPs. The state of Iowa actually called me back because we sent one to them and suggested that we go out for bid for a consultant prior to having an audit done, because they would help us make corrections rather than just point out our mistakes. So I did reach out to a gal that the Iowa League suggested, and then also our current CPA firm to give us proposals. So I'm hoping to have those at the November meeting for us to approve and to look at. There are a number of policies on the agenda tonight. The main one is the special event policy. In my meeting with ICAP, they suggested using this specific format from Fort Madison because it covers a lot of the bases that we're looking for. In it, you'll notice the community center parking lot is on there. So that would be great to have in place by next summer. I am looking at revisiting the community center policy itself. That will be next month, just to kind of create some more guidelines within the rental contract itself. Lots of grants that I'm looking at, trying to find some funding sources for, including the FEMA one with Scott for getting a storm siren. We hope to get a storm siren for the industrial park. There's a wildlife grant through the DNR I'm looking at. Trying to think of any other main things to hit. They did not specify wanting a no parking zone with Seneca construction, but we talked about if we do run into issues with properties nearby, then we can look at establishing a no parking zone for the construction of Snack Attack. But all we would have to do is just pass a resolution at that time. Lastly, we have our public works job posting out there. I did run into a hiccup. We talked with IPERS and they actually mentioned that we may be in violation of Iowa code by paying our elected officials for also doing public works labor. So I'm checking on that with our attorney just to see if there's any way that we can work around it.
Specific to snow removal at this point, correct, in the past? Because that's what we pay for.
I believe there's language in there regarding firefighters. And it's kind of an exception. Yeah, it read kind of as an exception, but Tom is reviewing it just in case to see if there's any way that we could continue to have elected officials help in the winter time.
And we understand that in small towns, elected officials are often asked or tasked with doing other things. So just need to make sure that the people driving the plow trucks you get the point. So
Yeah.
it's not that we're trying to disallow it from happening. It's that we're trying to follow the proper code.
Try to follow rules and everything. So do you guys have questions for me? I haven't been at a meeting since August. So.
I don't think so.
No, I did really like in the conversation about the water treatment plant opening. I do think it would be beneficial to get some sort of a flyer or something put together to help people understand what a water treatment plant does and what that process looks like and the timeline on that sort of thing, just from an educational perspective.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have no idea what goes on in the shed, and so I think it would be a great opportunity to help people understand what goes on. And since water has just been the thing for so long, helping them take ownership over what we've accomplished, where we're going, all of that.
Proper expectation setting around the fact that the water can leave the facility, but then it still passes through pipes, and in those pipes is years and years and years of sediments and iron buildups and things of that nature. So we may want to consider some extra flushing and things like that if weather allows when the facility comes online. But yeah, definitely talk to Ron about that a little bit too. It's just letting people know this. The water is much higher quality, but you still may see some oranging and yellowing for a while. I don't know how long, a while, but the new filters will take out the iron when it leaves the facility. So it's into the pipes that goes from there. And while it's safe, it still may be discolored for a period of time. But we'll still get a Facebook post 2 days into it, I'm sure. It is what it is. So I'll stop there.
Anything else for you?
So Marissa and I went to Sioux City for the conference, and we got to listen to a lot of presenters, attorneys talking about urban renewal, TIF, and that. We also went to the conference in Des Moines last week. And there, once again, I listened to a lot of attorneys talk about TIF, rebates, debt, and then HR, FMLA, and ADA, and then went to the budget session, which was really good. Gave me some ideas there. Marissa attended, we were going to some different sessions, and she attended a session that the state of Iowa actually put on about the offset program. So we're going to be getting signed up for that. So we'll be able to collect unpaid bills through their like a tax refund. It was fun. I learned a lot. Got to listen to a lot of people talk about their issues and be thankful we don't have those.
It was fun. I went and learned about math.
Yeah. Thanks for going to those. So
Yes.
Sounds like it's been helpful.
Okay.
Planning and zoning met last Monday. Among the things we discussed, the update to the city code. We went over all the changes in the planning and zoning ordinances and stuff have all been brought up to date. We looked through all of that stuff prior, and everything there looked good, so recommending approval of that. We also looked at the trying to remember what they called it, the proposed plan out here east of town.
Scenic
About
plot.
2 months. Yeah. Anyhow, our discussion, we're recommending the council waive their right of review. And then we want to update it on the Main Street Incentive Program, and that's still ongoing.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Anything else? Fabulous. Okay, consent agenda. Need a, what? That was the chair.
Chair, motion to approve consent agenda.
I second it.
Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Okay, number 8, public hearing. So it's public hearing regarding the adoption of the proposed code of ordinances of the city of Elkhart. Need a motion and a second to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing regarding the adoption of the proposed code of ordinances of the city of Elkhart.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing session is open.
So this is updating the code of ordinances. It hasn't been updated since the last update. There's, as you guys have known, there's been public questions and stuff in the past about, didn't the former council, where's this resolution, where's this ordinance, where are all these things? That's what the codification process does, and adds all the codes that have previously been unadded, and gets us caught back up to about a month and a half ago or so, and then we can continue to move forward with that. But yeah, it's been a while. Needed to be done.
I do appreciate it being on the website. It's helpful to our company a lot.
You'll search it quickly yourself.
Yes.
Control F.
There will be a new draft soon on the website.
Okay, so then we need a motion and a second to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
I second it.
Okay, Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Moving on to number 9, ordinance number 2024-10, an ordinance adopting the code of ordinances of the city of Elkhart, Iowa.
We need to waive the second and third reading, correct?
Oh, here we go again.
Motion to waive the second and third reading of ordinance number 2024-10 and adopt ordinance 2024-10 tonight. Second. Right? Second and third have been
This
adopted.
is the type.
The ordinance adopting the code of ordinances for the city of Elkhart, Iowa.
Wait a second.
Mhm.
Okay. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Right.
Perfect. Okay, number 10, resolution 2024-78, a resolution approving, what?
We've got to waive the
Oh,
second
no.
and third readings.
Oh, that's what you said.
Oh, he didn't choose.
I did it all.
You rolled it all together.
Oh, okay.
Deb, is that okay?
Well,
I'm not the expert this
No.
I think if we could do it in 2 separate, so approve on the first reading and then waive, and then approve on the final.
Okay.
Sorry to make it
No.
difficult, but I just want to make sure that.
Okay, so we approved on the first reading.
Yep.
So now we need to do the motion approval to waive the second and third readings.
Yes.
Motion to waive the second and third readings of ordinance number 2024-10 and ordinance adopting the code of ordinance for the city of Elkhart, Iowa.
Still second.
Okay, Fouraker. Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
Okay, so now we need a motion and a second to officially adopt
Yes.
said ordinance.
Motion to adopt ordinance number 2024-10 and ordinance adopting the code of ordinances for the city of Elkhart.
I second it.
Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
That passes. Good. Okay. Number 10, resolution 2024-78, a resolution approving street closures for Elkhart Betterment Committee Halloween Monster Bash. That is this Saturday. Did you guys see everything in the email?
Yeah, from Main Street between Railroad Avenue and Lincoln Avenue to include Shaw Avenue from North Main Street to home.
Are there any questions on that at all?
Nope, I don't have a problem with that.
Say we've been in conversation about this for a while, so.
Hmm.
The fire department didn't have any concerns.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, then we just need a motion and a second to approve that.
I motion to approve Resolution 2024-78, a resolution approving street closures for Elkhart Betterment Committee Halloween Monster Bash.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, number 11. Resolution 2024-79, a resolution approving amended development agreement with PARSHVA LLC. And this is all just the timeline related.
Yeah, we're just going from December 2024 to extending to December 2025. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It also changes some of the dates around when the back end stuff, the incentives kick in, and the reporting dates for all that as well. So that pushes that all back the appropriate amount of time.
Okay.
It doesn't change the structure of the agreement in any way, shape, or form. It just changes the completion date of the project and then those other dates to give the appropriate amount of months.
Are there any questions or concerns about that?
No.
Then we just need a motion and a second for that.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-79, approving an amended development agreement with PARSHVA LLC.
I will second that. I can do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty sure I could. Okay, roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Okay.
Passes. Number 12, resolution 2024-80, a resolution to approve issuing recycling refunds to select commercial businesses.
So I guess I didn't understand, why are we doing that?
So in our code, we do not charge, we're not supposed to charge commercial businesses for recycling. And in our software, when they were auditing it, they could see that accidentally these select businesses were charged.
So we were charging them for recycling, but we are not
Providing that.
being billed for that even. So, and it came to our attention when somebody came in and said, hey, you're billing me for this, and you're not providing the service. So that's what that fixes.
And this goes back, this is a legacy issue that was
Yeah.
predates these guys coming in.
Okay.
Let's stop charging for something that we're not giving. And
We're not doing.
okay, so just need a motion and a second for that.
I motion to approve resolution 2024-80, a resolution to approve issuing recycling refunds to select commercial businesses.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
Passes. Okay, number 13, resolution 2024-81, a resolution to set a fee for returned payments.
This is just us making sure we have a formality in place to charge the $30 on all return payments.
And then I saw in the email, just so everybody, for transparency's purposes, it would be any, checks, debits, anything that gets bounced back.
Anything.
It does cost us in time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
That happens.
And I think that's pretty standard
It is.
across any other entity, that if you bounce it back, you get an extra ding. So I don't think this is anything egregious. And it was $30, right? It was what we were looking for. Questions about that at all?
No.
Comments, concerns? Okay, just need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-81.
Second. Roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, moving on to number 14, resolution 2024-82, a resolution to approve reissuance of unclaimed checks to the state of Iowa to comply with the Iowa law for the Great Iowa Treasure Hunt unclaimed property requirements.
So this is just going and doing what we've had audit comments in the past about not filing that report and remitting that money. We are doing that now. So that's what that's taking care of. Some checks are being reissued if we can find an address, and then the others will go to the state. That's legally required.
This always fascinates me when I'm at the state fair and they have the little booth and you can type your name in, and then it's like, who in the world is just like, oh, no, I don't need that money. That's fine.
It really does work. I've actually gotten $10 back.
My sister's supposed to get money back, but she's one of those people that just doesn't do it. So,
And just again, this is another legacy issue that predates these guys that's just being cleaned up proactively.
due diligence. Okay, so I just need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-82, approving reissuance of unclaimed checks to the state of Iowa to comply with Iowa law for Great Iowa Treasure Hunt unclaimed property requirements.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Hi.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
That passes. Thank you so much for all of your due diligence in getting us all caught up on all these things. It's great. Number 15, Resolution 2024-83, a resolution to approve financial transfers between funds for fiscal year 2024-2025.
This is that long list that we
Yes.
received from our financial advisors so that we can initiate these before December 1 interest payments come through. And there are 2 cemetery transfers on there that we just need to move from the general fund to the other checking account.
It looks like they were donations that were put in the wrong.
They were
agreement
earmarked,
Received
yeah.
a while back. So we'll clean up. Motion to approve resolution 2024-83.
Second, roll call. Fouraker. Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce. Passes. Number 16, Resolution 2024-84, resolution to approve pay estimate number 15 for water treatment plant expansion project. Da, 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 da. You're up.
So we did have a progress meeting Friday with the contractor, and they are on schedule to have the water plant, like Katie said, completed by the end of the year. However, there's going to be time for startup and training and kind of making sure everything is running right. So it'll probably be after the first of the year before we're actually making water that goes out to the residents. But their completion date is May, and so they feel very comfortable that they'll meet that deadline very easily. So we would recommend the city council approve pay estimate number 15 in the amount of $224,219.11. And with this, they are about 92% complete.
Great.
Questions?
Yeah.
Yes, it's gotten much quieter across the street from my house. That's great.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-84.
Second.
Roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
Number 17, Resolution 2024-85, a resolution to set city administrator wage. And now this was borne out. You guys should have gotten the email. We did do Katie's 6-month review, and Johnny provided some input on that as well. We both reached out to lots of other city employees and people and entities that she's worked with and things, and got feedback across the board. Everything was fabulous. She's accomplished everything so far that we set out for her in the 6-month timeline. She's exceeded expectations in some ways as far as communications and whatnot. There was no overt issues that popped up in that at all. We talked about development goals moving forward and things that she wants to specifically work on, and set a path forward for her on that. But across the board, again, everything looks exactly like it should look. And then the second piece of that is when we did hire her on, the understanding was at this point, if she was meeting expectation, that then her salary would shift to this amount instead. And so that is what we're discussing.
You've well said.
Need anything for me? Otherwise, I'm
Don't think so.
Okay. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No, I think he's been great. I think that really done a lot for us quickly, a lot quicker than we had expected her to do. Learning a new position, and I think she's earned it myself.
Thanks for your kind words.
Yeah, I have nothing to add. Great job summing that up. This was part of the original agreement. It started at 87,500 and would bump to 90. And then the next review period will be the traditional yearly review period. with percentage of increase considered at that time based on performance. She's got a good list of things she's working on between now and then, and you know, I guess on top of all the things you guys are already seeing every single month at the meeting and getting cleaned up, she's done a great job working with Deb and Marissa and really ironing out responsibilities from Public Works as well. So very excited to keep moving forward, and I'm happy to motion to approve resolution 2024-85. A resolution to set the city administrator wage.
I second that.
Roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Hi.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce. Passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 18, resolution 2024-86, a resolution to waive the city of Elkhart's right to review a subdivision located within 2 miles of the Elkhart city limits. Scenic Bluff. Mike already gave us P&Z's 2 cents on that. Just got the email.
Yeah.
Thoughts, problems, concerns? We've done this before.
Yep.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-86, waiving their rights to review the subdivision of Scenic Bluff.
I second it.
Okay, roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce. Fabulous. Okay. 19, resolution 2024-87, a resolution to approve the purchase of the Public Works 1-ton truck.
This is a state bid, so it's the lowest price. They also quoted prices for a Ram and a Ford.
So I don't know anything about this kind of thing, but is there a reason we're buying brand new and not anything different?
I don't know the reasoning behind why it's brand new. I did ask Ron if there was any other details he wanted to share, but the only thing he sent me was that it was as low as it could get for a brand new truck. But if you guys aren't comfortable, we can always table it and wait until the November 2nd meeting or the regular meeting in November if you want more details from it.
Yeah, I wish you would have come to the meeting and just talked us through it a little bit.
Well, I'll just throw in, so there's like 30 pages in the packet that go through it. And one of the things to keep in mind is that the new vehicles come with warranties. They're also turnkey, meaning they're upfitted already for what they needed. So there's like plow hookups and things like that are built into the vehicle. The other thing is getting bids on used vehicles and doing it the proper way is a lot different than it used to be, where, oh yeah, a guy in town selling a truck, the city should buy it. That's not really how this works with state processes. So this was budgeted in when we went through our budget processing and all that stuff last year, and this is what was expected. The little orange Ranger can't do too much in the winter. With a lot more streets than we had last winter and many more streets in the coming winters, plus the responsibility of taking on this out here, we're going to continuously see bigger equipment driving around for the foreseeable future.
So what are they going to use the truck for? Like, is it like plowing? Like, is it going to be plowing the streets, or is it?
Yeah, plowing. There's water tanks they haul around to different site locations and things of that nature that they're currently switching in and out of the other trucks. So it'll just give them 2 full-size vehicles to continue to service, and then this would be the quote-unquote workhorse that they'll be using for most of the plowing and things of that nature. That other truck isn't as built for that as this one is. This is a lot heavier duty of a vehicle with all the warranties and all the stuff that come with a new truck.
Any other thoughts?
I would say, there's definite advantages to getting the new vehicle too. But aside from just having it already upgraded and everything, is you're not going to run into a maintenance issue right away that's not covered by something. So.
But it looked like they did their due diligence on, looking at different options and everything else. I'm also not a vehicles person. So
Yeah.
if you want, like,
I don't know how that works. So.
that's what they said they need.
It has the wrong logo on the front, but other than that, definitely certified.
Okay, so do we have a motion and a second on resolution 2024-87?
Motion to approve resolution 2024-87.
Second.
Roll call, Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer, aye. Fordyce. We should get to name it.
You can.
Okay. It's important.
Technically, you're the mayor, right?
We can
At
call,
this exact moment.
we can call it Betty White.
Fabulous. There's some great names out there. We can do this. That'll be the next thing.
Put that on social media, the city.
Yeah.
There you go. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we can have a contest, just like the coloring for Christmas. Never needs the plow truck contest. Great.
Something like that.
Okay, number 20, ordinance number 2024-11, an ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Elkhart, Iowa by adding provisions to chapter 69 parking regulations, section 69.12, snow emergency. Now, this is one of those where we open a meeting, correct?
We don't have to do a hearing. It's just an ordinance.
Okay.
This is basically adding some guidelines to our current snow ordinance. So it specifies that the accumulation of snow of 1 inch or more, it shall not require public tree. The city shall supply public notice through online postings notifying the public that snow parking restrictions are in effect between October 1 and May 31. So we don't have a time frame right now, the way our snow ordinance reads. So we have something in place for our residents so that they know, hey, don't park on the street, and then we can advertise it ahead of time. And then it also says,
I know. That's what at the beginning, I was like, what is that?
It's not a siren.
I don't know what that is.
It says, city-owned off-street parking area from the time there has been an accumulation of 1 inch of snow until 48 hours have passed, or the snow has ceased to fall or been removed from the street. So this makes it easier on Ron, so that we're not having to, I guess, cite tickets or ask people to move their cars so that they can maneuver. I ran it by him and the sheriff's office, and they didn't have any issues. The sheriff's office did ask that we notify them each time we declare we're in a snow emergency, just to make them aware. So.
So we just need a motion to approve it then?
This is the 3 reading. If you want to pass it in this meeting, otherwise, I would suggest just doing 1 reading during this meeting. Give people more time.
So we need to motion and second to approve the first reading.
Yep. And roll
Awesome.
call.
Okay, so we need a motion and a second to approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-11.
A motion to approve the ordinance number 2024-11, an ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Elkhart, Iowa by adding provisions to chapter 69 parking regulations, section 69.12 snow emergency.
Second to the approval of the first reading.
Wonderful. Roll call, Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce. Okay. Approved the first reading.
So it will be on the next agenda.
Fabulous. Well done. Number 2021, Resolution 2024-88, a resolution to adopt a policy for independent review of monthly delinquent utility accounts and approval of utility account balance write-offs.
This is another item. They know anytime in an audit if you have final accounts with balances sitting in there. So we need to make sure that, A, we have someone reviewing each month. So within the policy, I added myself and Deb to review the delinquent accounts each month. And then the part where it talks about write-offs is up to you guys. So if we ever run into an instance where a year has gone by and we have to write this account off because we can't collect it with the set-off program, then we bring it to you and you approve them. Or don't approve them.
And that is one of the comments we have on audit report too, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
more past stuff getting cleaned up.
Good motion.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-88, adopt policy for independent review of monthly delinquent utility accounts, approval of utility account balance write-offs.
Second.
Roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
Passes. Okay, number 22, ordinance number 2024-12, an ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Elkhart, Iowa by adding chapter 119, special events.
The draft or anything specific in questions.
And this is another first reading.
Yes, I would suggest standing it out because we've got business owners that this is a new thing. So I would suggest if you are in favor of doing just the first reading.
We lost the ability to control F because whatever. One thing that I was going to ask if it could be looked into adding, if it isn't already there, was porta potties and like public restrooms and things like that for events over X size. I noticed that wasn't on there. At least I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
I think I removed that. So like adding a requirement for so many amount of
If
people.
the anticipated event is over X, because otherwise you run into issues of whatever business this event is at, not being able to handle it and people wandering off into yards and bushes and things of that nature.
Got it.
And if we're going to close areas for special events, it might be good to have something. I know it sounds kind of minuscule, but
No, it's
why not?
valid.
Right. I noted things in there about requiring liability insurance for the group asking for this for the business. We talked about liability in the past with using city equipment. There's also a charge for the use of city equipment. There's minimums in place for that. She mentioned the use of the parking lot being in theirs, and then the wording around community consent, I guess, the area that would need it. It doesn't specify you must have 10 signatures or 20 signatures, but it does talk about having the majority of the affected parties or the people in the area on board with it. I don't know if there's anything we need to do, or what do you suggest for that, or what?
I put in there properties within 200.
Yeah, within 200
Because
feet.
that's how our variance requirement reads.
Okay.
And so I figured that would make sense just because it's people within the vicinity.
And they do have to sign off on it then? Okay.
Or
That's
at
what-
least an effort be made to contact them.
And then if the person applying for the permit wasn't going to make the effort, then we could, but we would charge them for the time and the effort to make the connection. Is everybody okay with that, given what's happened in the past? Do we need something that's more signed off on? This is something we can consider over the next 2 or 3 readings, but do we want to put a sign up sheet? There are, Ankeny does it. There are cities that do it where the folks that want to close it down are going door to door and getting X amount of signatures based on the size and the scope of the event. I don't know if we need to go that far, but it's just food for thought as you read through it, because it does say that meeting all these expectations, still comes down to council approval. Past considerations can be put into place if events like this before had met standards, things of that nature.
I don't think we need,
What do you mean?
This is in the
Yeah.
permit one. Okay.
Yeah, there's a sign up sheet. Do we need it? Do we want it?
I don't think we need it yet, but I do think that if you're having an event, you should go door to door, just let people know, or hand out a flyer that says we'll be doing this event at this
Yeah.
time. Just,
There's a level of trust that's placed when somebody says they're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's not being specific, just general comment. There's been times in the past where there's been claims on both sides that someone was and someone wasn't notified. So having a sign up sheet takes that gray area away, but I'm one vote. So just something to consider. This included street closings. This included the responsibility of all that. The ability to revoke the permit, penalties in place if violations are found. And then there's exclusions for funeral processions and things of that nature, obviously. But those are the things I guess I took away from it. It's well put together.
So to add the porta potty requirement.
It's just a thought. You don't have to. It's what do you got? I mean,
I think so. If it's a big enough, they should, you know, if it's so many people, they should at least have one. Or if there's so many extra people, then you need two. I think that would be, because then they're not only, you know, exhausting the bathroom or whatever business it is, they're probably going to other businesses, like walking to the
Correct.
bar, going to the bathroom and leaving and not, you know,
Correct.
so it's tying up their stuff as well.
We're using ones that are already paid for by the city.
Yeah.
the
Filling
only other thing I was going to ask about was it like event parking, ensuring that there's enough parking available for the event, or do we need language around? I mean, we all see what the city looks like during city festival. There's cars in every nook and cranny.
Yeah.
It doesn't typically cause a problem, but at the end of the day, there are people parking where maybe they're not supposed to at times. I know we've worked with business owners to put up their own signs in the past, but just food for thought as well. Do we need, you got to be able to, you know, parking for the city? I don't know. I don't know how to word it. I don't know if it needs to be worded, but
I think the larger cities include that in there. So I'll check on adding event parking.
yeah, if somebody says there's going to be 200 people coming
Right.
to an event, where are these 200
Yeah.
people going to park?
Yeah.
Because then that affects more than the 200 foot around. That can affect the whole city. It can affect the church lots that aren't supposed to be parked in. It can prevent, or it can touch private businesses. There was the UTV ride that's been cited by Tim 100 times, you know, where the folks came in. Doesn't matter if they're firefighters, yes or no, sorry, but you still have to follow parking regulations. And when there's lack of enforcement in the town, that doesn't mean people can park wherever they want. So just consideration of potential parking enforcement or police
Okay.
enforcement required as well. I don't want to overkill it because we want to encourage the people that live here to hold events. We want to encourage them to bring people into our city for the businesses. It's not anti-business and it's not anti-people. It's just, we're going to do this, let's do it right.
Yeah.
But know that we can always amend this as time goes on and needs change and desires change. So
Got it. Okay, so I will make those changes and we will table the ordinance and that resolution for the special events until next regular meeting.
is that good with you guys?
Yep, I'm good with that. So a motion in second, and we'll call to table the
Motion to table ordinance number 2024-12, amending the code of ordinances by adding chapter 119 special events.
Second.
And do we need a second or a, yes,
You section.
well, another motion for the resolution?
I think we have to
No.
call it out.
Because if there's table, then it gets skipped.
Okay.
Okay, so Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
That is table.
For just sidebar, the sign-up sheet looks great. The fee structure was good. The layout was
fees look
nice.
all-
I think so. We'll talk about it. It's stable now. I'll shut up.
Number 23, resolution 2024-89, a resolution to approve special event application and permit fees.
That has been.
That is the thing we just
Yeah.
did.
Nope, that would,
Well,
no,
that's-
we're gonna table this one as well.
Yep, motion to table resolution 2024-89 until the November council meeting.
Roll call. Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
Wonderful. Number 24, discussion review of investment options for city funds.
So I am recommending that we pass this IPATE resolution in order to use the rates that IPATE can offer. That doesn't necessarily mean that we have to use IPATE and open an account with them or join the program, but in order to use the IPATE rates and bring to our current bank, we have to become a member of the program through that resolution. So I am suggesting, and Deb, chime in if you want, that we bring those rates to our to Community State Bank, because she did express interest in wanting to work with us once we were, talking with her about getting other proposals. So I think it would only be fair if we brought those to them just to see if they can match.
Can you rewind and go back to what this program is? It hasn't been in place. It needs to be in place. Like, can you just give a little bit of a detail on what it is first? I know there's people listening and wondering why we're coming up with investment ideas and options and things.
So iPay is literally, it's an investment option for cities and states.
And that's, when you say investment options, you mean money that's sitting in general funds or different funds that hasn't been spent, could be accruing interest,
Yes.
whereas in the past it wasn't accruing anything other than dust.
Exactly.
Figured it.
And the rates that we're seeing as options are a lot higher than what we are gaining on our checking right now.
And we're gaining what on our checking right now?
0.2.
And
Wait, I mean, it would be really a good place to have money like the fire department's restricted funds, because it would be earning a lot more. So.
yeah, instead of 0.2 or 0.
And obviously, they're not going to match the rate if we're not qualified for it. So
Yeah.
So yeah, just passing that resolution, become a member of the program is, we have to do that for sure. So that's why that's on the agenda.
Is there a standard way in which cities that participate in this and have that investment funds, do they, hypothetically it's 4%, there's $40,000 that's occurred in interest during the year. Does that money typically go to a certain place, to a certain fund? Does it go back to a certain entity, or how do I will call them profits, but how do the profits from those funds typically go?
If that were TIP money, that would stay in the TIP fund.
Okay.
If it's restricted money, it would stay in the restricted fund. But if it was something that could go to the general fund, it could.
So it would be used for budgeting purposes and things of that nature, but it would become a shortfall or do something else. Okay. Just for the record, like,
Yeah.
it's real, actual spendable money that doesn't come from taxpayers because the money's already been. Yeah. So I'm fine with it.
I'm
If
fine
that's
with
the direction we need to go to, again, fix things that need to be in place, I'm for it. And then I guess, so we'll pick an option then in November, right? Correct? Assuming this is all.
Ideally, I
Ideally.
don't want to rush you guys into it.
Pretty sure we can get information off their website to give them to in the packet about iPay.
Yes, yep, we can.
No, that's fine. It comes down to considering where our money is already at, where all of our accounts are already at, and using this iPaid information to encourage them to work with us on that so that we don't have to go and transfer and get new bank accounts and start from scratch for
That
these
was
guys as well from a work standpoint. So this iPay thing is pretty important because it allows them to go back and do that. And yeah.
And you said she wanted to work with us.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So,
Yep.
A motion to approve resolution 2024-90.
Second.
roll call, Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer, aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
That passes. We'll look forward to more information. Okay, number 26, building permit 217 Northeast Monroe Avenue. You guys all got this in the email as well. The discussion is if we wanted to waive the fee for this building.
sorry.
Hold up.
I just wanted to make sure no confidential.
Yep, nope, I got you.
Thank you.
Said no other words.
I think that I'm for that. I'm absolutely for it.
We just don't have a policy in place, and I could not do that without your guys' approval, so I put it on the agenda.
I don't have any hesitation on this at all.
Okay. Are you interested in having policy then to outline ADA building permits, are we?
Yeah, I think
That'd
so.
be great.
And do you need a vote from us at all?
Motion in second would be helpful.
Okay, so do we have a motion and a second to approve the waiving of the building permit fee
I motion,
For ADA compliant.
for ADA compliance at 217 Northeast?
I motion to approve waiving the permit fee, for the ADA building permit for 217 Northeast Monroe Avenue.
You got it.
Second.
Roll call, Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaffer. Aye. Fordyce.
Aye.
Okay, other business?
I was just gonna touch on that question I received regarding the rental property. Given Scott's recommendation, do you want me to contact the sheriff's office to do a full inspection?
So the situation is that someone is living in a garage. You called it a rental property. We're sure
Oh.
that they're getting charged rent then.
Sorry, I
Okay.
should not.
No, I'm just making
Rental
sure.
Property.
That's okay. I just
That
wanted
was
to
my
clarify.
fault.
No, you're good. I just wanted to
Sorry.
clarify.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. My views are in line with Scott's. If it doesn't have a certificate of occupancy, we need to
I would
do
agree.
what we need to do to protect the people that are in it, the people that are around it, and our firefighters in case something were to tragically go wrong. So,
Okay, I will contact them to see if they can go out and assess the situation, basically, because right now I'm at the point where just the resident submitted a complaint, you know, based on what they've seen. So, yep, I will do that.
other business. So,
Other.
yeah, just real quick, McGuire Iron, we've been in touch with them about cleaning the water tower for a very,
Oh, yeah.
very long time. I know it's been a hot button issue. People have asked in the past. We're still waiting to hear back. I'm not 100% sure what the holdup is. We've asked for dates for, I don't know, 6 months in a row-ish or more.
Is there other companies we could reach out
Well,
for?
we do have a contract in place, but they did send us the next installment on that contract, and we are going to
Hold it.
we're gonna continue figuring out what the dates are before monies are spent and things are paid. And then I've also requested a list of what exactly has been done on the contract since the contract was signed versus what we agreed to. So we'll get a good comparison of all of the times we paid the money, what they owed us for that, what could have been invoiced, what was invoiced, because I haven't seen the water tower be cleaned for a long period of time, and there's an annual cleaning in the agreement that this dates back. So, yeah, if breach of contract is found, we'll discuss that at that time, but there's no reason to think it'll go that far. Hopefully they'll get back to us and they'll give us what we need, but we did have to put a little pressure on it to get it taken care of.
Well, we were briefly paused now because of the seeding of the
Well,
grass as well.
we had internally talked about needing to pause because we didn't want a bunch of water coming down and washing out the new seating, but it didn't matter because we hadn't heard anything back anyways. So internally, sure, we could have called it a pause. Externally, they had no idea that we were pausing. So we'll get to the bottom of it. I told Katie I'd help her with whatever way I could, so I inserted myself into a few emails to try to get answers on what the hell is going on.
So we're probably looking at, if anything, having it cleaned next in the spring, right? I mean,
I couldn't tell you. They attempted at one point to maybe possibly come over Memorial Day weekend. With like a 3-day notice, 4-day notice, they don't want to speak out of school.
Yeah.
August 24th, they said they could come over Memorial Day weekend, but we would need city staff available. And it was on the Monday of Memorial Day, which is a federal holiday, and we're not going to have city staff come in. And that was just because they just happened to have an open date, I think, not because it fell within the parameters of the contract. I don't want to speak, I didn't say anything out of school, but we need to get what we paid for it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we'll figure it out sooner than later. There's enough bandwidth now to make it a priority.
actually, I was just standing there looking at it on Sunday. I'm like,
I know.
What's the point of a contract?
I know, right?
Other.
I don't think so. A lot of stuff.
There was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I guess public recognition. I know Katie posted about it today, but getting the 20 trees planted, the communication was great. The cooperation from the parks was great.
Yeah.
The FFA students being involved was awesome. It's good to see. And
Did we get some pictures to post?
Oh,
they were just posted this afternoon.
There we go.
Yeah.
Stop working and start looking at Facebook.
It's
Sorry.
awesome to see everybody
Yeah.
from different committees coming out and help, and yeah, thank you all for
It was fun. It's good to get them put up.
being so involved, and you know.
There'll be nice trees when they get big.
Yeah.
Okey doke. Well, then we're at item 28, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? I'll second. Roll call, Fouraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Hi.
Schaefer. Aye. Fordyce. Fabulous. Meeting adjourned.